So how can you tell when Steven's done his video at the last minute? I'll give you a hint, it's when the lighting looks a little bit weird as if it's night outside. Yeah, that's a dark window. So there are a few things that I wanted to talk about. First, I am up to date on Marble Hornets, and I highly recommend finishing it, or at least getting up to where we currently are in the story, up until where they've filmed to, because it's a really, really great series. It's incredibly well filmed, and it's just really interesting because it's a puzzle, but I find myself wanting answers or pieces of the puzzle that normally I wouldn't want. Like, normally I would want answers to the whole plot as a whole. I don't. I want to figure out what people are doing. Like, why people are doing what they do. And so I respect it for that. Also, Troy Has a Camera is the non-Marble Hornets channel for them, and I think they have the funniest shit I've seen on YouTube in a while. It's very weird humor, and they think in very weird ways. But I'll put the link in the description, but you guys should check it out. So now I'd like to talk about Kyle's Pokemon theory. In a nutshell, there shouldn't be only good Pokemon. Why? Well, 'cause then there wouldn't be any good Pokemon. Pokemon only are good in the way we think of them is 'cause they are better than others. If we didn't have any Pokemon for them to be better than, then there wouldn't be a benchmark that we would call Pokemon good. It would just be, these Pokemon are baseline. I mean, the good Pokemon would become bad Pokemon. And then Pokemon would just escalate higher and higher, or there would be no power difference, and the game would be boring. On the other hand, each Pokemon does serve a purpose, and each Pokemon can be used well. It just depends on what you're using them for. I have gotten into EV and IV training now, effort values and something values. Basically, EV is where you train Pokemon against specific other Pokemon, like I will kill 30 Psyducks because they yield, like, special attack points. And as you beat that specific type of Pokemon, or a Pokemon that boosts that EV, that stat becomes stronger. So if you focus on only taking out Pokemon that give you, your Pokemon, EVs in defense and attack, you will have a Pokemon with a higher defense and a higher attack than a Pokemon that just fought any Pokemon that it encountered. And IV training is where you breed Pokemon with inherent values, like their natures, hasty, adamant, bold, quirky. These natures boost certain stats and reduce other certain stats. And so this is how competitive players get the edge up on their opponents, is they build a team that each one does certain things, like a sweeper, which is just to take out other Pokemon really quickly, a tank that can just take a lot of damage and also deals out incredible amounts of damage, special attack tanks, and the like. And of course, also taking into consideration special super effective and not very effectives, and immunities. So looking at it that way, there's a whole nother dimension to Pokemon that any Pokemon could be trained to be good. It just depends on how much effort you're willing to put into it. There's also Nuzlocke teams, which are inherent on their being bad Pokemon, because in Nuzlocke what you do is you have to capture the first Pokemon you catch on any route, or in any town, and once that Pokemon faints, it dies. So you're very much encouraged to keep the Pokemon you get in your team, and you're not allowed to catch anything else. So you're very encouraged to keep the Pokemon in your team alive, and when you're stuck with a bad Pokemon, that brings a whole nother dimension of challenge to the game. That makes it really interesting. The other thing about Pokemon is that it wasn't intended to be played with a computer. It wasn't intended to be played within the era of the internet. Back when Red and Blue came out, there was no internet, so you could go look up which Pokemon was best. I mean, it was a trial and error basis. So not only would it make for a less fun game, a less interesting game, a less challenging game, but it would also make for... it would make for a game that just wasn't as fun. and you had no challenge and you couldn't do the things you can do in this type of Pokemon. Probably due to the amount of time that I've spent watching Marble Hornets and now other YouTube videos, I really kind of want to start a project, and I'm not sure whether or not I want it to be a plot-oriented project where I have to write and develop characters and like actually shoot a series, or if I want it to be funny skit things. Like, look at Marble Hornets and then look at Troy Has a Camera, and you'll kind of see the difference that I'm talking about. I'm really not sure which one I want to go for yet, and I'm not even sure if I can, because I don't know if I have the manpower or enough people who would be willing to do it. But if you have any suggestions of like cool things that I could do or that we could do, shout them out in the next video. Anyway, Griffin, keep kicking ass on guitar. Please become a rock god and chill me up, because I want someone to push me to actually be better at things, because right now I don't really have anyone pushing me. And that's what I love about you, is that you're so good at pushing me and Kyle, I think, to be better people or better at things, because you have that inspiration. And so I want you to chase that, and I want you to write a kick-ass song and blow me away with it, so then I can do the same for you and we can just work off each other and be awesome. Kyle, I don't really know what's up with you. I hope you had a great move back to Vassar. If you've moved back yet, I'm not really sure. Other than that, let me know what you guys want to do, both with this channel some more, and what you guys are doing in your lives. I'll see you guys soon.